Hey, yo, what is up? Today's Try Hard video featuring the flavor of the week, the Mission Marathon Reward Tank. And it's being played by A Bit Confused. And A Bit Confused here is in Siegfried line. And we are going to witness one of the highest games recorded so far in terms of damage. This is a 6,000 damage game, and in the best matchmaking possible for this tank, in a tier 6 matchmaking, which means the KPZ is in top tier configuration, immediately takes up an important forward position, which is what you have to do no matter what tank you are in. If you are in top tier, you need to make use of your gun. You need to be top tier. So what is he doing right now? You can see him firing a lot of HE shells. Now this tank has 90 millimeters of penetration with HE shells, which he will put into good use in this game. But right now this tank is new. He's still figuring it out, trying to hit long distances with HE shells, and then, you know, 2 shots there wasted, 3 shots there wasted on the Indian because he cannot pen the sides and angled back of the Indian. He could have done a lot better there if he was just firing standard shells and taking the 200 damage. Instead, he's wasted 4 shots here trying to damage the Indian Panzer. Finally getting some damage with the standard shells after he decides to change to standard shells. And even while the Panzer is running, Indian Panzer is running away, he does a little bit more damage. He could have done a lot more damage if he had fired the correct shells there, but he was taking a gamble, hoping to encounter the light tanks in the field there, and he aimed, he took his chances with the HE shells. Now he's loading HE shells again, but this time there's a T-37 and he can definitely penetrate that, doing over 360 damage in the first shell. Second shot, another 300 damage, so he got 600 damage there for 2 shells, which he would normally get in his standard AP shells. You know, he'd fire 3 shells to get 600 damage. So he's net positive there on the T-37, but he lost a lot of opportunity with that Indian Panzer. But as you can see in the top configuration, when you are in top tier, you do need to play aggressively in this tank. If you are in bottom tier matchmaking, you cannot be as aggressive. But even in top tier, you can see his position here. He is not going straight into the city and being as aggressive as he could be, because this tank of course has no armor. Using his skill here, you can see him trying to shoot in between those pillars, and when there is no angle, he just climbs up the rubble and then use his 9 degrees of gun depression to find some angle in between those pillars and do damage. And you can see him just firing non-stop. Of course, this tank reloads every 4.79 seconds. If you run a gun rammer in this tank, you can get it down to 4.31 seconds. If you run a rammer and vents, you can get it down to 3.9 seconds. And if you run a rammer and vents that are purple or bonded equipment fully upgraded, you can get the reload down to 3.75 seconds. This tank is a DPM machine. Now some players might not go for the rammers and instead opt for the vertical stabilizers, vents and optics instead, and that would push your view range up to the 480 to 500 meters view range, depending on whether you are using standard optics or bonded optics. Bonded optics of course give you around 500 meters of view range. If you couple that together with your BIA cruise skills and situational awareness and your commander's maximize view range. Now you see him crossing in the open right in front of a huge tank destroyer. What is he doing there? Well, it was calculated when he was crossing. He made sure that the 2 enemy tanks had already just fired their shot, safe enough for him to cross, and immediately you see him using his DPM to take down the remainder of that Indian Panzer. He took a hit from the Indian Panzer, but he finished him off with 2 shots, and now he's circle jerking this SU-100, and you can see him ramming the SU-100. Why is he doing that? That's because he is using his mobility to push into that SU-100, stopping that SU-100 from turning and facing him, and so he didn't need to take a hit from that SU-100. Instead, just keep him facing away and wither him down with your DPM. This is a very experienced player showing you experienced gameplay. He was not hyper aggressive early in the game, even though he was top tier, but looked for the flanking opportunities as soon as the game start developing and breaking down. Immediately look for the closest flank that he can wiggle his way around, and just like that, one by one taking down tanks. And now he's making another mistake here, firing HE shells again, doing very low damage on that M44 in the first shell, only 135 damage, and even with that with the HE shells only managing 135, he would have still needed 2 shells to finish him off, even if he had high rolled. So he might as well have shot standard AP shells, right? What do you think? Leave a comment below. He made a couple of mistakes here, but I don't blame him. I think this tank is still very new. Players are still figuring out when is the best time to gamble with that HE shell and when not to gamble with that HE shell. Sometimes you high roll, sometimes you don't. Again, back to the HE shells. He fired 1 shot AP, now he's shifted to HE shells. Does a nice roll there, 348. And then the second shell, 328. Still not enough to finish off that was that a charioteer, finish off the charioteer, and he's run out of HE shells, back to AP shells, and that last shot on that charioteer was in AP shells. Now he's using his mobility to sneak around the back of the KV-1, 1 shot with AP shells, another one, but by the time he fired that shot, someone has already finished him off. Now he's finishing off that 88 with 2 shells. The first shot managed to track him, second shot in the cupola. Now he's turning around and trying to look for the last remaining tank, the T-25-2 tank destroyer. Look at how fast this game developed. Just in 7.5 minutes, he's already done 6,336 damage. He's going to fire 2 more shells here. 194 in his first shell. Someone has taken a huge chunk of damage from that T-25, but he does manage that final kill shot, and he does 9 kills in under 7.5 minutes. Ace tanker, high caliber, mastery badge, 6,600 damage, 2,009 base experience for this game. 47 shots fired in 7.5 minutes. That's pretty quick. Out of those 40 shots, 32 penned. He fired a lot of HE shells. Remember, he could have done a lot better here if he had realized his shots, those early shots in that Indian Panzer. But still a very good game, and congratulations to our friend here. And a bit confused, did really well for his clan, Pepe. What do you think? Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.